Chair, you're good to start.
Thank you. Good evening. I'd like to call to order the 379th meeting of the City of Laurel Board of Appeals meeting in regular session on Thursday, December 28th, 2023. I hope everyone had a joyous holiday weekend. Ms. Quillen, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Collins?
Here.
Ms. Keating?
Here.
Mr. Johnston?
Here.
Ms. Clifford?
Here.
Chairman Smalls?
Present.
You have a
Second
quorum.
item on the agenda is approval of minutes from the November 30, 2023 meeting. If there are no changes, no edits, or modifications, I will entertain a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve the minutes from the previous meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson.
I second.
Thank you, Ms. Clifford. Any discussion? Hearing none, Ms. Quillen, please call the roll.
Mr. Johnston?
Yes.
Ms. Keating?
Yes.
Ms. Collins?
Yes.
Ms. Clifford?
Yeah.
Chairman Smalls?
I vote yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Agenda item 3 is special exception application number 953, resolution number 23-12 BOA for 349 Main Street, Unit 1, filed by Temitope. I hope I said that correctly. This one's even more challenging. Popoola.
Close enough.
You
Popoola.
get it. The applicant will set it straight. They're seeking special exception approval to operate a smoking lounge. Mr. Matter.
Good evening, Mr. Chair and fellow board members. This is Deputy Director Monte Burrows, and happy holidays again to each and every one of you. Special exception application number 953 was filed on November the 11th, 2023 by OCPS LLC to operate a smoking lounge located at 349 Main Street, Laurel, Maryland. Under date of November the 13th, 2023, a cover letter, justification letter, and subject plans asking for comments were sent to the state, local agency, and city departments for comments. All comments are stated in the technical staff report. On November 14th, 2023, a letter explaining the nature of the application, advising and scheduled public hearing before the City of Laurel Planning Commission and Board of Appeals was sent by certified mail to all contingency property owners. All return receipts were received. Just to note, the applicant is seeking special exception approval to operate a smoking lounge. The property is zoned commercial village. The current space of the property is vacant. November the 24th, 2024, text amendment number 1815 was approved to allow smoking lounge use by special exception in the commercial village zone. The applicant will be renovating and occupying 500 square feet located on the first floor. Currently, the building is mixed use with 2 commercial spaces and 3 apartment units. The applicant, Mystique Lounge, will be operating 7 days a week from 2 p.m. to 2 a.m. During the hours of operation, Mystique Lounge will have a controlled environment which includes an equipped alarm system, ID check at the entrance, the playing of modern music, and late night and security checks to ensure health, safety, and welfare of the Laurel resident as well as the worker. Mystique Lounge will be staffed by approximately 1 employee, 1 manager each day. Staffing may scale depending on the volume of business. Parking requirements. The smoking lounge and retail parking required is 7, and there's total of 18 parking spaces in the rear of the site. According to Code Section 2016.5 and Section 2016.6, schedule of parking requires 1 parking space per 200 square feet of the first 3,000 square feet of gross floor area. The property is located in the parking modification zone, which allows for 60% reduction for retail use under 5,000 square feet. There's 18 parking spaces in the rear. Landscaping, per the City of Laurel Unified Landscaping Code Section 27.11, the CV zoning district requires a minimum green space area of 10%. The current landscaping, which includes grass area, trees, and bushes, covers 17% of the property. In the technical staff report, the applicant has answered Section 2021.01 of the Unified Land Development Code, listed 5 criteria for special exceptions generally included. At the City of Laurel Planning Commission, held on November the 12th, 2023, the following action was taken on the zoning application. On motion by Mr. Wilson, second by Mr. Kish, and carried on a roll call vote of all members, voted 4-1, with Mr. Grant recommended denied. The recommended approval of special exception 953 for 349 Main Street as presented in a technical spec to the Board of Appeals. Staff recommends approval of resolution number 23-12 BOA and special exception application number 953 located at 349 Main Street, Laurel, Maryland, 20707 with the following condition. The applicant shall obtain all required City of Laurel permits. All lounge patrons, occupants must be at least 21 years of age. The applicant should comply with all federal, state, and local laws and regulations for protection of the use of the property. Smoking lounge can only sell prepackaged snacks such as chips and nuts. No on-site food preparation. Applicant shall adhere to the regulations set forth by the City of Laurel noise ordinance at all times of operation. No external speakers for live or pre-recorded entertainment shall be permitted. The applicant shall adhere to the approved hours of the operation stated on the technical staff report, and if changed, shall notify the city. The parking area shall be striped before the issuance of the use and occupancy permit. The applicant shall install a proper ventilation system to ensure that all smoke is contained in the designated smoking area of the establishment. The applicant shall install carbon monoxide detectors. And lastly, the applicant shall ensure that all smoke and noise contained in the designated smoking establishment shall not be detected in the adjoining apartments, business, and surrounding business. The file contains a certificate of publication, verify this application, and public hearing will be advertised in the December 21st, 2023 issue of the Prince George Post. The file contains an affidavit signed by the applicant attesting a zoning sign has been placed on the subject property and has remained and shall remain until the decision is reached by the Boards of Appeal. That concludes the reading, Mr. Chair. The applicants are on the line for any questions, and thank you. Can't hear you, Mr.
Your
Chair.
smiles are muted.
And I told myself I wouldn't let that happen. Thank you, Mr. Burrow, for that report. Before we go to the applicant, I want to ask first if the members have any questions for Mr. Burrows or staff.
I have a question.
Ms.
Is there going to be alcohol served? What will they have to drink?
The applicant is on the line. I want to make sure, and you can hear that from him. I believe he can answer that.
Good evening. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much for your time. So we're planning to apply for a liquor license, more than likely beer and wine license. We'll be starting the application I believe we missed the last deadline, so the next deadline is in January. And so we'll be going for that application right after we get our use and occupancy permits, and we actually starting that process as soon as possible, as soon as we get the green lights for everything else. Does that answer your question, ma'am?
Yes.
If I could just ask the applicant now or Mr. Burrow to kind of expand on that a little bit. As the recommendation from the Planning Commission, number 4, in talking about prepackaged snacks such as chips and nuts. And I had written down Ms. Collins' question about beverage. Alcoholic beverages aside, does this allow, and I presume it does, this condition allow for beverages, soft drinks, water, as part of snacks? Mr. Burrow, can you?
To Larry, yes, it does. We just try to make it a controlled environment with the pre-packages. We at the moment, the ordinance only supports pre-packaged food, but when you talk about beverages, we do that is included in that.
Okay. I just wanted to be sure.
And we were planning to also provide that as well and sell that as well, beverages, water, soft drinks, if that helps.
Okay, it does.
So you'll be providing those.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
In addition, we were also planning to potentially partner with a food truck to provide food, since we can't provide it on site.
What's the maximum occupancy or number of people you can have in there at a time?
To answer that, Mr. Johnson, that would be set by the fire marshal when they finish their use of occupancy. They would set a occupancy load at that time.
Okay. Oh, I thought I missed it. So it's not in the briefing materials. Okay. And I just wondered if the bathrooms are sufficient for this number we don't know yet. So.
I believe they did a preliminary, but at that time they will answer all those questions and ensure if the number of bathroom is sufficient enough.
Okay. Can
And how many people can be in there at one time?
At the moment, that has not been set per the fire marshal. So once he get the use of occupancy and the okay, they will set the limit of how many people can be in the building at once.
Okay.
Because I think it's about 500 square feet. Are we talking about? Is that the finish? Is that the size of the finished area in there?
Sure.
That's the size of the regular. That's the size of what he's renovating. Is the 500 square feet correct?
Okay. All right.
And that's all on one level?
For his space, correct.
Mr. Burrow, I'd like to ask if there are preliminary occupancy numbers, as Mr. Johnston brought up. Could you inform us on what that number is, and certainly just let us know once a final number has been determined, what that occupancy would be as well. If you would.
Yes, I can relay that once that's been set. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Thank you. Any other questions for staff before we move directly to the applicant?
Mr. Chair, if I could jump in real quick, just to let you know, the applicant mentioned the food trucks. That food cannot be eaten inside the establishment. That would,
I'm glad to hear that.
would be outside. That would not allow for that. So just wanted to add that to the application.
Okay, great. Thank you.
I didn't know that. Why is that not allowed?
A lot of it's within our regulations, and there's also health health code indications with that. They would have to get the health department, but they're very leery with smoking establishments and food at the same time.
Interesting.
So,
No, because
question, so if he's gonna have a food truck, where are people supposed to eat?
I mean, they can eat out by the food truck. He's the one that's proposing the food truck. We weren't doing that, so they would have to eat outside somewhere. Yeah,
That's interesting, because I've been to Jailbreak, which is in the Howard County part of Laurel, and they used to have food trucks outside. And I seem to remember bringing my food inside, but that wasn't the smoking establishment.
So I do have one question. This is Maria Clifford. So on this, I see that it's a 2-floor building, and who occupies the upstairs level? Do you know?
The upstairs level, I believe is vacant. I'm not sure. I can get that. When it's a mixed use, so there's apartments upstairs.
I see.
Yes.
And I heard that you are required to provide proper ventilation as required by, or the guidelines are for your type of smoking establishment. And maybe I missed it, but what type of products will you offer? Is this primarily a cigar?
Was that to me?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, so it's primarily we're going to be selling hookah, vapes, and potentially cigars as well.
Hookah bakes. Got it. Okay. Thank you.
The question is to the applicant, and I presume you'll be able to smoke on premises. Can you or staff give us an idea of what measures you have to go through to have a proper ventilating system? I mean, the nickel explanation, not the $5 one.
Sure. We're purchasing what's called a smoke eater. It's the primary use of it is to pull smoke, carbon monoxide and smoke air out of the building, and we're going to vent it right out the building to the side of the building. So going to be having smoke detectors to ensure that we identify any issues that come up related to carbon and smoke. And we have a hygrometer, which is also a small digital device that we are placing in the building to help us identify if there are any carbon monoxide related issues as well. Does that help? Does that answer the question?
It does, for me, anyway.
And so you plan on being open 7 days a week or 7 evenings a week?
The goal right now is anywhere between 5 to 7 days, and we'll scale depending on how business is doing. If it's not making sense to open a couple of days, we might scale that back. But initially, we wanted to just see how it would work for 7 days. More than likely, we'll be doing somewhere between 5 and 7 at very minimum.
And I know you all addressed the music issue also, but can you, just give me a quick overview. What is required for the music?
So for music, we're not doing any loud music. We don't have any DJ. I mean, it's a small space. We don't really have any space for any sort of DJ or entertainment. So our plan is to just have speakers set up in a space. We're not looking for any overly large music. We're just trying to just have really calm, I like to say loungy music.
Right. Right. You'll just do a playlist, in other words. Or something.
Correct.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions for the applicant? I have just a couple more. Honestly, until I read it in the application, and I go by that location quite a lot. But I never noticed that there was landscaping on the side of the building. So this is just more of a request that consider just kind of sprucing up a little bit wherever there is green space. It's an old building. It's, in my opinion anyway, not a very attractive building. And I know you can't do, for historic reasons, anything to the exterior or very much to it. Landscaping would kind of hopefully help enhance the outside appearance of the building. Could you talk a little bit about security? Is security just cameras? Is there a physical presence that will be inside?
So we're planning to, in addition to cameras, we're planning to have at least partner with a security company or agency or a company to provide some, especially on our busy nights, which I expect to be Friday and Saturdays. So at least have a presence there checking IDs. Would prefer to have armed officers on site. That is a busy area, but it's a pretty nice area. I don't expect any real issues there. So the plan is to have at least one officer on site that can help. And, we'll also make sure that we have the city police on speed dial if we have to. But yeah, definitely we're having plans to at least have an officer on our busy nights at the very minimum.
Okay, thank you. Board members, any other questions for either the applicant or staff? If
No, my
not,
questions were answered.
great. Great.
Well,
Angela?
I just have a question. The comments received by the fire marshal, there were 2 comments. Have those been addressed and taken care of?
I believe the one comment was related to ensuring that we had,
One was the proper ventilation and the other was the carbon monoxide.
yes, and that's addressed by the steps we're taking to ensure that we have that smoke eater, and then we are also installing. We're going to partner with Guardian, and we're going to have to get Guardian to do our real-time monitoring for our carbon monoxide and the CO2. I'm sorry, smoke and CO2, smoke and CO2, to ensure that real time, if there are any issues, they alert us of that as quickly as they can.
Any other questions or comment?
And you all will be leasing this space, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So Mr. Small's comment about the landscaping, you would have to address that with the owners, isn't that right?
Yes, ma'am. We'll certainly bring that up as a topic of discussion.
Thank you.
With that.
Thank you.
And to follow Ms. Clifford's question, not about landscaping, but about the leaseholder. I presume the owner of that space is fine with the kind of needed and required modifications you're going to make to their space?
Yes, and we are ensuring that as we come up with our designs and plans, we're sharing that with him to make sure that he's okay with it.
Okay.
And just to note, Mr. Chairman Smalls, the applicant and the owner and myself have worked closely, so he knows step by step everything. And when we do get comments, they both get comments, so he knows ideally what's going in there. He knew before we even knew what the proposal was, so he does know.
That's good. Yeah, the city has had unfortunate experiences in years past when a smoke lounge was open and didn't have the full cooperation or approval of the property owner, and led to some issues. Anyway, board members, if there are no more questions, once again, I will call for a motion.
Chairman Smalls, could
Yes.
we open a public hearing in case there's anybody on the
I'm
call?
sorry. Thank you, Ms. Quillen, for putting me back on track. I will open the public hearing at, I have 6:22. I have one person signed up to speak. Ms.
Hello.
Quillen, would you state your name and address, please, for the record?
Yes, Reverend Dr. Sylvia Van Laar, 501 Main Street, Laurel, Maryland. And
Thank you.
I just have, yes, as a resident of Main Street, I just have a couple of questions and minor concerns. One, the idea for Main Street I thought was to make it a family walking and lovely destination where people will want to come and have a family-like atmosphere. This proposed establishment is to be open from 2 p.m. to 2 a.m. And they're considering also alcohol and a few food trucks. And there are many residents here on Main Street. I am a long-term resident. And this thought of people, a food truck late at night and up until 2 a.m., people coming in and out of a smoking establishment that may have drinking. I'm a bit concerned, and I know that people say this is the time, and but being a family-oriented resident, I have concerns about 2 a.m. time and the food truck being outside and the possibility of alcohol. And when you had the hearing in November, they mentioned maybe 30 to 40 people, of course, depending on what the fire marshal finally claims. But that can be quite a crowd at 2 in the morning, and I feel that the street loses some of its what can I say, family-like atmosphere to have such late night activities on Main Street.
Thank you. I'll I'll give the applicant an opportunity to respond if you like.
Good evening. I'm sorry, I missed the name, but I appreciate you sharing your concerns, and I totally understand where you're coming from. Our goal here is to not be a source of intrusion into your life here at Laurel. Matter of fact, we are hoping to breathe some additional life into Laurel, and I get your concern as far as being a family atmosphere. We expect that our clientele will be of the very calm kind. We expect that our music is not going to be loud or intrusive. And we do expect that we will keep our noise and noise down to a minimum. As far as food truck goes, we weren't planning to necessarily have food out till 2 a.m. We plan to stop serving food somewhere closer to 12, which I think would probably alleviate some of your concern there. But my goal is to not be a nuisance on Main Street. I want to contribute. I want to make sure that people Laurel are happy with our presence there and our welcoming of us. And if there's anything I can do to make our stay there more comfortable for you, we will certainly do so. But we're definitely taking everything you just raise it into we're going to take it into consideration and see how we can definitely reduce our noise and our footprint there.
Is there any reason why
Thank you.
why you wanted to stay up until 2 in the morning?
Yes, that's a big question.
So initially, actually, we're looking to open later, primarily because we knew that in Laurel today, there aren't any establishments that are open later, or open late, and we wanted to be a place for where people are. I know that people during the weekends go outside of Laurel to go hang out in other places, and our thought process was, why go out of Laurel? Why not bring why not come hang out in Laurel and stay in Laurel where it's much more, where it's safer. And so we thought 5 a.m. is too late, and we'll dial it back to 2, but we want to give people a place to go, people that want to hang out late night, a place to go relax safely. And if there's a lot of people that live in the Laurel area that I know that would love to be able to just come and sit down and relax in Laurel up until whatever time and come back home. So I think 2 a.m. it was sort of the perfect point to ensure that it was not too loud, and we could get out and still ensure people are able to go back to sleep comfortably, and I still give people enough, the ability to go out and stay out safely and, come home nearby where they live. Does that make sense? Did I answer your question, man?
Well, I just think it's awfully late.
Uh,
Especially
I
during the week.
agree.
Especially during the week.
I
Did
agree.
the police department have any comment on the hours?
None.
To answer your question, Marlene, normally the police recommends 2. We had talked with the applicant. I know we're negotiating for a while. He did want to open up to 5. We normally have 2 a.m. as the limit. You have all right as the board if you feel the reduction is best. But we normally, when they have banquet halls or any examples of something staying on late, 2 a.m. is the max.
and we still, apologies. I didn't mean to cut you off, man.
I wanted to touch base with the the woman who was speaking about the food trucks. And again, if you're not allowed to have food inside and you're gonna have food trucks until midnight, where are you gonna have people eating and hanging out?
Well, this is the first I
Don't
heard.
want it
that-
on the street.
I'm sorry, I apologize. Go ahead. I thought it was just to me. Go ahead.
Oh, excuse me. Yes, I was saying we don't want it on the street. People hanging out eating, and that's not, I don't think very becoming. It's okay, maybe if it's in a mall or something like that, but you're not in the mall. And, you know, there's a bakery. Isn't there a bakery also in that building?
No,
Isn't there a bakery in that building?
Marlene, if I can answer, I can sit down, we can sit down with the applicant. I did shoot an email to the email that was on file today, speaking of the concerns with food truck. If that's something that is a concern to you, even things that were addressed today, we can sit down even further with the applicant and try to figure that out. But I did shoot an email stating, you know, the concerns about the food truck. So if need be, we can talk offline and try to figure that out, or he would have to figure that out on his own. But we can do that if that's a major concern to you.
yeah, I mean, I think that's a concern, especially with that being so close to the street and not being able to go inside. And at midnight, you're just gonna have people, you know, hanging around. And I could just picture the area filled with trash.
Are people going to be allowed to bring their own food into the establishment?
No.
Okay, because I'm reading about a Burtonsville smoking lounge, and they're allowing people to bring food into that instant.
Yeah, I understand, Mr. Johnson, but at the moment, how the ordinance is written,
Right.
it is written for prepackaged food only.
Okay.
Any other comments, questions?
I had one about to address the hours. First, I'd like to remind the rest of the board, we were all that age once where we like to be out a little later now. So but I do say to that 2 a.m. every night during the week. Do you plan to maybe adjust your hours as your clientele comes and goes, possibly maybe Thursday through, I don't know, Saturday, Sunday, maybe the 2 a.m. and maybe a little earlier during the weekdays, considering working time, etc.?
Absolutely. Absolutely. More than happy to rework that at least Monday through Wednesday. Maybe
Right.
a lot earlier, Thursday through Sunday. We would like to open a little bit later, and potentially we could probably close a little early. We'll revisit closing a little early on Sundays, just because that might not be as busy as well, but certainly.
Correct. Okay. Thank you.
Possibly Sunday through Thursday, since people, I mean, those are people have to get up, or I don't know how many people living around close to that area. I don't think there's too many, but still, I don't know. I think Sunday through
Well, a lot
Thursday
of
should be
people
adjusted.
living close in that area. We have homes.
Okay.
Okay, board, I will again ask if all questions, comments, and concerns have been at least addressed. I will open the floor for a motion.
And just to clarify, are we saying that he is going to close earlier during the week? And if so, what time?
I think he was, no, I'm speaking for the applicant, but I think he was saying he could be flexible or would be flexible depending on how engaged his space is.
That's correct, sir.
Like maybe 11 p.m., midnight. I don't know.
Right. Probably close to midnight on the days where we're not busy, and then a little later in the days that we are.
Okay, noted. Thank you.
I remember when I was younger, I would hang out at the Laurel Giant that was open 24 hours a day.
Laurel Giant. I'll reserve.
I would go in there at 2 in the morning, and the Blockbuster Video briefly on the weekends was open till 2 a.m. But
Oh,
that,
that's funny.
that didn't last too long. Okay.
The block, wow.
Mr. Chair, if I can interject,
Please.
to piggyback what the administrator said, if there are specified days that you would like for him to close early, if we can gotta clear that up right now, like Monday through Thursday, or example of days you would like for him to close early, if we can get that, and then we can put that on record, and then we can kind of, move forward with it, so we can conclude it with that.
I would
Anybody-
suggest Sunday through Thursday, closing at midnight.
I would agree.
I agree.
Yes, I would go for that.
Okay, Sunday through Thursday. That will be one of the conditions regarding operating hours.
And have we specified the end time, midnight, or what was it?
We didn't. I mean, we talked about midnight was thrown out, but what's the feeling of the board?
What was
I
the
agree.
question again?
Time, closing time on what, Monday through, the nights other than Monday through Thursday, right? Or is it the reverse? Monday through Thursday, closing at
Sunday,
an
Sunday.
earlier
through
hour.
Sunday through Thursday.
Sunday.
closing
Sunday,
at
I'm
midnight.
sorry, Sunday, yeah, Sunday through Thursday, closing at an earlier hour?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
And
2
then
a.m. the other Thursday
Friday
through.
and Saturday would be the 2 a.m.?
Correct.
Okay, got it.
Because Thursday becomes Friday morning, and it's 2 a.m.
Correct.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Okay. Are we ready to move forward? Are we ready for the vote? Before I kind of ask again on the vote, Mr. Burrow or Ms. Quillen, will you go over with us, so we're all on the same page, the added conditions that the board is placing on this application?
I've got closing earlier Sunday through Thursday at 12 midnight, open till 2 a.m. on the weekend nights.
Okay. Are we all on the same page with that, board?
Yes.
Yeah.
With that, again, I will open the floor for a motion.
I make a motion to approve.
Is
Based
there a
on the,
second?
based on the alterations, yes.
Yes.
Correct.
Mhm. There a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Ms. Collins. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Ms. Quillen, would you call the roll?
Miss Clifford,
Yes.
Miss Collins,
Yes.
Miss Keating,
Yes.
Mr. Johnston,
Yes.
Chairman Smalls.
I vote yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Best of luck, sir.
Thank you very much.
With the other hurdles that you have to go through, when do you expect to open?
We're shooting for mid-February at this time. close to
That's
Valentine's
a
Day.
pretty ambitious
Well,
schedule.
It's pretty ambitious, very ambitious, but
Mhm.
that's our
Good
target.
luck.
What was that time again? When do you target opening?
Like closer to Valentine's Day.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well,
That's
that'll come up
ambitious.
on this pass.
Very ambitious, but we're gonna go for it.
Wishing
luck.
you all the best, sir.
Good luck. Yes.
Very much. And I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That concludes our agenda. I'd like to, before I adjourn, just say how much of a pleasure it's been for me working with Marlene.
Thank you, Fred. Thank you.
On this committee. Hopefully you're not going anywhere. You'll still be around the city, at different events and popping up here or there. But it's truly been a pleasure. For those of you who may not know, this is Marlene's last meeting. So wishing you all the best.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure serving with you guys. I've
Yeah.
enjoyed it. Just time for someone else to get a chance to experience it as well.
I
And these are
understand
3-year
that.
terms, aren't they?
Rob,
I don't think so.
3 years, yeah.
They're 3-year terms.
Mhm.
Well,
She's put in quite a bit longer than the 3
Okay,
years.
yeah.
she did.
Well, then, yeah, you get re-up for another term. No, a friend of mine was serving on the Board of Appeals for the city of Alameda, California, and they had 4-year terms. Just trying to-
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
And I wanted to say one other thing. If my father would have been alive, he would have been 100 years old today.
Wow.
Oh,
But no one in their right mind would be bold enough to appoint him to the Anne Arundel County Board of Appeals. He would say no a lot. Okay, so I'm not sure I'm living up to his, but he was pretty lively in his Board of Appeal meetings. He would attend as a citizen.
Well, with Mr. Johnson having the last word, if
Yes.
there's no other matters to come before this board, our meeting's adjourned.
Happy New Year.
Happy
New
New Year.
Year.
everyone.